In the book, you mention that gratitude is the single biggest thing that changed your life in that. Can you deep dive into that? And how do you practice gratitude today?
Want to talk about that? I call him Mr. Gratitude, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, I just look at a lot of people that saying look at life like a cup half full. I just feel like life is a lot easier if you have a good attitude about it. Just understanding that things are going to happen, but if you learn from them, whether they're right or wrong, and use them to your benefit, then it all pays off. But it's definitely gratitude is one of those things that I'm just very thankful for. And
Hey, this is a quick shout out from one of our awesome sponsors. Check this out.
Thank you to Tracy down at Tranquil Turtle Massage in downtown Coeur d'Alene. Look, my wife and I, we see Tracy and her team every single month for a couples massage, and it is the best thing. Tracy is a master massage specialist and a Hanu Ashiatsu trainer. You need to reach out to Tracy and her team. Make sure that you tell them that I sent you, and you'll get $25 off your next massage. Also, while you're there, check out CDA Brows, Body, and Ink. Make sure to tell Tracy that I sent you, and you'll save $100 on your next tattoo brows and plasma tightening services. Chris and Shelley, you're the owners of Harper Motorsports, one of the largest used power sports dealerships in the country. Shelley, you're an author. Y'all have been married for over 30 years. You have 4 amazing kids. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Erik. We're happy to be on the show.
thank you.
I'd like to kick things off by going back a bit. Where did each of you grow up, and what was childhood like for you guys?
You want to go first?
I grew up in Port Angeles, Washington, up on the coast, and went into the Marine Corps right out of high school, and basically put 4 years in the Marine Corps and was stationed at the White House with President Reagan, had good duty, and went overseas and had great memories. And then when I got military, I was going to school in California, Saddleback. I lived in San Clemente and ended up meeting Shelley's parents. And they played matchmaker and said they wanted her to meet this guy, and it worked out perfect. So
That's awesome. Well, thank you for your service. I really appreciate that, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I grew up in Colorado. So my family, we moved a ton, but we always stayed in Colorado. So I lived all over the place. Fort Collins, Elizabeth, Castle Rock, Buena Vista, Denver. Feel like I know Colorado pretty well. And it's a great state. Had one younger brother, and my parents were self-employed. And so got to kind of experience that life, which prepared me for this life. And I had an awesome childhood. My parents are amazing, awesome people. So no complaints at all. They definitely prepared me for life.
Well, I want to get into your journey right away. In 2013, Chris, you received some devastating news. What was that news, and what goes through your mind? And then Shelley, from your perspective, like what goes through your mind in that moment?
Well, it's hard to explain, but it was just one of those things that I felt sick and didn't realize that ended up having leukemia. I'm the type of person that never goes to the doctor. I just maybe medicine every 10 years to get an antibiotic or something if I've got a virus, but normally pretty healthy. And that was a surprise to all of us. Obviously, you read that in the book on kind of how it happened, and started getting blood noses and throwing up blood and what have you. And parents and family, no cancer, nothing in the history with them. So it was all a surprise to us, but it was one of those things that you just you got to make a decision and get through it. I know when I first was told to diagnose, I asked him. I said, what? Because I've heard some horror stories about chemo, and basically kills you off, and it's not fun at all. I've heard of people not doing it at all, and I just said, what were my chances? How long would I have if I didn't do it? And I'm thinking, several years, whatever. And they said, well, you'd be dead in 2 weeks. So
wow.
I thought, well, I got 4 kids, beautiful wife, and a lot to live for. So I said, let's get going. So ended up getting set up with the hospital ASAP. They sent me home stating that don't hit your head or do anything do crazy because you've got like 115,000 white blood cells. I think normal you're supposed to have 6,000, so I could have a bleed in my head real easy. So But yeah, it had to get on it right away to make it work. You know, and they hit me really hard when I first got there, and you know, which I'm glad they did. But it kind of shut down some of my organs, and they had to really watch my kidneys and all that. But yeah, it definitely gets your attention and makes you think about life and how precious it really is. I know that first day in the hospital, I told my wife that it's the best day of my life, and she said, "Why in the heck would you say that?" And I just, because I said I'm a believer, so I'm either going to heaven, or or God's got great plans for me. So either way, that was gonna be a great future.
Wow, what a great perspective, man. What about you, Shelley? Like, what goes through your mind in that moment?
I think at first I just kind of thought Chris was invincible. You know, I mean, he was a Marine and he was really tough, and he didn't really feel pain like the rest of us, or he never complained. So I just thought, he's totally fine. This is nothing. It's going to be a blip, you know? And then when it was actually something, it was, you kind of get numb. And in our case, we really didn't have a lot of time to process anything, because it was like, you're going tomorrow to chemo. It's happening now.
Right.
So I think in our case, it was just so fast. It was such an acute case that there was really not a lot of time for thinking. It was more about, what's the next step? What's the next, appointment? What's the next chemo? And it was a year of what's next? What's next? What's next? And you really didn't have time to think about anything.
Yeah. Wow. And I think your church really surrounded you guys during this time, right? I mean, you really had to put your trust in God in that moment. How did having the prayers and support from your church affect you on that journey?
Well, obviously it was nice to have them there for us, and I just truly believe this is part of our life, and kind of look at life like, that God's got a book for us, and we just keep turning the pages, and it's one of those things you just gotta work with what you have. So I just believe everything happens for a reason, and you try to have a good attitude about things, and life isn't going to be perfect, that's for doggone sure, but if you learn from it, and we just feel like if we help somebody along the way, what we had to go through, it was kind of a win-win situation. But
yeah,
church was very powerful. The book obviously talked about a prophecy that I had before, and I really didn't know much about prophecies. If anything, I thought it was kind of kooky, like how would somebody know,
sure,
about me or my family? And sure enough, when you put them,
It's okay. Puppy's joining us.
Oh, it's totally fine. Totally fine.
He'll calm down if you just relax with him. He's on the podcast for us.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like Chris said, we didn't know what to expect when we went to that prophecy conference, and from that moment on, we just knew God had us. We knew He had us during this journey of ours.
Yeah.
And our church did surround us, and tons of prayers and visiting us at the hospital, all of that. Just, I really think that we had people praying for us all over the East Coast, all over the West Coast. I'm sure it had to definitely help.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the prophecy, basically, I ended up, I was basically praying and just hoping that I could have a word, because I felt like in my life at that time, I've tried so many different things, and made money, lost money, and just tried to do the right thing. But everything happens for a reason. So it was one of those things that the pastor basically knew exactly what to say with me and knew everything about me. And like, even the pastor of the church said, "Who are these people?" Because we were new at that church.
Wow.
And basically hit it right on the head as far as saying, "Hey, your life, the basically the enemy's against you, because you have so much to look forward to in life, and what you're going to do, feed churches, build churches, feed nations." And I've always been like that. I've always wanted to do missions work or anything to help people, give back a little bit. So it was pretty cool. And I was weeping, crying. And it's like, wow, God does look at me and, understand me here, kind of thing. Yeah. So it was just one of those things I really needed to hear. And it was pretty cool. And then obviously 2 weeks later, I was diagnosed. So I'm like, wow, but obviously it's for a reason. And it worked out where the pastors, J.O. and Ray Dean, were there every time they went to the hospital, and they come up in our Harley and and visit me and pray for me, and it's pretty cool. So
Yeah. Wow. And just so those people who haven't read the story, like, how are you feeling today, Chris?
perfect, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Come
I
on.
get up early and walk the dog about 4:00 in the morning, 4:10, and I'm usually working a couple hours before I even go to work because it's nice and cool, and that's when I get some stuff done. But yeah, I'm very blessed. I don't have a lot of side effects and what have you. So, you just don't know what the symptoms could be. But I just got a 10-year checkup with my oncologist, and he said, I don't want to ever see you again. You got
Come
a
on.
0.009% every coming back again. So,
Wow.
and I've got, obviously the book says that I had a bone marrow transplant. So
Right.
my 25-year-old out of Europe donated, and I'm a 10 out of 10. I'm 100% Norwegian, so a 10 out of 10. And so that's awesome. And
Match. A 10
a
out of 10
match.
match.
But
Yeah.
I now have a different blood type. My body lives on his blood, so his blood was O positive. I was A positive. So up till I was 45, I was A positive, and then when I had the transplant, killed all my blood off. Now my body uses his blood to so it's pretty
Wow.
cool. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Wow, man. I'm so glad that you're feeling good. I'm an early riser as well. I get up at 4 a.m. So I'm there with
Oh
you.
yeah.
That's awesome. Now I'm a big music.
Not by choice.
Yeah.
What's that?
I am too now, but not by choice.
Totally. Well, when you have puppies, they kind of keep you up. They change your
Yeah.
sleep schedule for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It was we basically raised 4 kids, and she's like, we're not going to raise another one. But we went to a Christian school fundraiser, and
Yeah.
I saw this puppy in the front, and I said, "Are they be auction that up?" And they said, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, I'm in trouble." So when I
Yeah.
started holding my paddle up, Shelley looked at me like, "Are you crazy?" And of course, you got 300 people laughing at us
Yeah.
because we're arguing over. I'm like, "I'll worry about it later." But
We didn't talk about a puppy, so
yeah. So
Okay.
anyway, but it's like it all works out. It's fun.
we love him.
Oh, that's awesome. That's such a, I mean, yeah, I've been there, done that at the auction with my wife as well. Like, hey, put that paddle down, I'm a big music guy, and I loved in your book when you talked about your daughter Joya did a cover of Alicia Keys' song for you, man.
Beautiful.
And as a dad, I know that I would just be like booger crying watching that
I
video.
was.
What was that feeling for you when you watched that video?
Precious, yeah. I just thought what a beautiful thing to do for your father, And she even changed a few words in there,
Yep.
about, but just the whole song on what it means and what they're talking about. It just makes you really think about it. And she just hit it perfect.
Yeah.
She was recording or doing that in the bathroom because she's obviously shy about it, but she's got a beautiful voice. She's a beautiful, that's my only girl, so obviously she's daddy's girl.
Yeah. I found it on YouTube. She did a great job on that cover. Yes. Such a good job there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Excellent there. Now, Shelley, you were Craig's caregiver kind of through this journey, and then you write this book, Prophecy, Our Journey to Cancer, Hell, and Back. Very powerful book. Like I said, I haven't read it all yet, but I've been reading through it, and it's just an amazing book there. But why did you decide to write this book and share your story?
Well, honestly, people would always ask us about it. They would always ask us about the cancer journey and the different things that happened. And there were just too many things to tell. I definitely felt like right after he had leukemia that there was a story to tell. And so I started taking some notes while he was in the hospital. And then I actually put it down for about 7 years because I just couldn't revisit it. I just needed some space and time to kind of heal. And then during COVID, I knew this was the time. And the words just poured off, out of my brain and onto the paper. And now when people say, well, tell me about his cancer journey, I can say, well, actually, we have a book. Here you go. You can read all about it.
Yeah.
And we did it together. We decided that possibly if it could help somebody, and we've had people who've read it that had nothing to do with cancer say, wow, it changed this perspective or it changed that perspective. So we just feel honored that, when you go through something hard, it's almost like you can't just sit back and do nothing. You have to share your story, or you have to do something to try to help someone else.
Yeah.
You get down. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, just it makes
so,
you think about life, and we always say life is short, just make it count, kind of thing. Because a lot of people, they'll get in a car wreck or whatever, where they don't really get to say their goodbyes or whatever, and it just this was something that we were lucky enough to spend time with, and it worked out well anyway. But a lot of our friends had the exact same thing as us and didn't make it. It's just, you just wonder. There's no rhyme or reason. You don't know, why that happens. But I'm definitely thankful I made it and able to spend time with my family.
Yeah, man. Well, I applaud you guys for putting this story together. Like I said, it's very powerful there. And in the book, you mention that gratitude is the single biggest thing that changed your life in that. Can you deep dive into that? And how do you practice gratitude today?
Want to talk about that? I call him Mr. Gratitude, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, I just look at, a lot of people that saying, look at life like a cup half full. I just feel like life is a lot easier if you have a good attitude about it. Just understanding that things are going to happen, but if you learn from them, whether they're right or wrong, and use them to your benefit, then it all pays off. But it's definitely gratitude is one of those things that I'm just very thankful for, and got a beautiful family, beautiful wife.
Sorry, Erik.
That's okay.
It's still life here for us.
Yeah, totally. No worries at all.
We're finding gratitude with our whatever just happened with our dog. So
no worries at all. That is awesome. I love that. And maybe when Chris gets back, he can help answer this question. But you guys have been married for over 30 years, and you talked about in this book where sometimes there were some disagreements and conflicts. And I've been married for 18 years. Not every year is rainbows and sunshine there. But like, what's the number one marriage tip that you would give to like newlyweds?
I think communication. The crazy thing with us is we're exactly opposite, and we think, how in the heck have we made it? And we had a saying that was given to us at our wedding for a gift, and it says marriage takes three, and obviously God. So it's one of those things that I don't know how people do it without God. So I'm definitely, I give him all the credit and grace, because life's not easy without it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's believe it or not, we still learn from each other and argue, but we communicate, and if we communicate and tell the other person what we would like or not like, then that helps. And it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
When we got married, we both decided to stay married. So there's plenty of time. There's plenty of reasons to not, whether it's financial or just not get along or whatever. But I'm fortunate because she's always been there for me, and it's probably been more my issues than hers, but she's been there for me, and I appreciate it. Life is a lot easier when you can share it with somebody. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And for me, I mean, I would say to a young couple, to a young woman, I would say, choose gratitude and just try to find the gold. There's going to be plenty of dirt you can see. Just try not to notice it, because it's there for all of us. And if you get fixated on something that you don't like or that's not going well, you're just going to go down a spiral. So there's something to find. Just look for what you saw in him when you married him, and focus on those things and build on those things.
And as crazy as it sounds, it's when I met her, I had been basically praying for a nice wife, beautiful wife that was a believer, I would never have to worry about cheating on her, or me cheating on her, or the other way around. Just respect. And I decided when I got married that I wasn't going to go to a bar. She'd never see me drinking, never drunk, because I don't want to do something that I would regret. Not saying that you can't have a beer once in a while, but I just want to have the respect there. My dad always said the best investment you'd ever make is make your wife happy. So you got to do whatever you can to make that work. But I had been praying for a wife, and I just, for some reason, I knew her parents when they met me and put us together. We never even knew what we looked like. to each other. I
Wow.
knew it was her. I just knew it was her. So when I did meet her, I was like, well,
There
I'm
we go.
glad she's beautiful because I already picked you. You know, I already in my mind. So
That is
it's all,
awesome.
like I said, it's all worked out great. And we all have luggage and different things in life, and
Sure.
the way I was raised, the way she was raised, but you got to deal with it. And I think if you have that common denominator of never giving up, never calling it quits, because it's so easy to do nowadays, and look at the statistics. But you know, and it's made us, just like cancer, it's made us stronger people.
Yeah.
Made us a stronger marriage. So yeah, it's been beautiful.
So good. Yeah. My wife and I, you know, we've been married for, like I said, 18 years. And what we kind of said, when we said, I do, we mean it. Like both of our parents been married and divorced 5-6 times. We said, we're not doing that. We're breaking the chains of divorce, abuse,
Wow.
rejection, and addiction
That's
that,
awesome.
That's awesome.
that
Congratulations.
plagued our family. Thank you. Yeah. And, you know, we have 2 beautiful kids now. And, you know, we made the move to Idaho where it was, we didn't know anyone. We just felt God going, get out to Idaho, get away from all the craziness. And so here we are. And
Good.
and we came here in 2014 and Coeur D'Alene in 2016. But yeah,
Awesome.
it's just been
Great
an awesome time.
Raise a family. That's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Now I want to get into some other fun stuff here. You guys are the owners of Harper Motorsports, which is awesome. I've driven past that shop many times out there.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, like, what is Harper Motorsports? What is it that you guys do?
Well, it's a business that basically sells toys. And
Yeah.
my youngest son and I and Shelley and I are partners on it. So, but our whole family basically is involved. So we don't have any employees. I've got another boy that's out of the Marine Corps a couple years ago, and he does sales. And then Shelley does a lot of the paperwork. She just retired doing lending and did very well at that, successful. But obviously the market and stuff was kind of dried up. And I thought, you know what, let's put some time and effort into our own business and let it grow. So we've got really good reviews because, you know, our reviews are like 4.8 out of 5. And on used motorsports, it's almost impossible because stuff might go wrong, wherever. But our theory is if we treat them like we want to be treated, we'll never have a problem. And we get a lot of feedbacks and people that are, you know, good reviews because we take care of them.
Yeah.
Go the extra mile. But anywhere from jet skis to motorcycles, Harleys, side by sides. We've sold $150,000 fat truck that floats in the water, and it's you know we've done a little bit of everything. So we try to be creative and try to get good products for them. But people in Idaho, they like toys, so we are excited about it. And my youngest son, him and I are, and my wife are basically owners, and he's as sharp as could be. Young kid. He's the kind of kid that
22.
Yeah, 22.
Okay.
When I was going through cancer and chemo, I would, because I always flipped stuff and did stuff like that, growing up. But he took on to that, and he was in high school and middle school and making tons of money and doing good. But he had the good heart, and he knew where it was coming from, and it just made me proud. So all my kids are just awesome. They all have their own special things. But he was a kid that, 19 years old, he'd buying a $500,000 house. You just don't see that nowadays. But he's not afraid to work. And I told him, you just got to be a good listener. Sales is sales, but listen to what they want to hear. What they need, whether it's a payment or what they're looking for, and he knows how to do that. So I would be going through chemo at home, and on my week off, just feeling like crap in bed, and I'd hear him on the phone, and he'd say, I know you're asking $4,000, will you take $2,500? And I'm cringing in the background, but he makes it happen. I said, well, good deal. They can't come out of that phone and get you. You just keep working at it, and he's a deal maker, and he's got a good heart. He made me really proud one time. He did. We went to church, and the guy from India came there and said, "Hey, you can build a church for $10,000 and have a school there during the week, and then the Sunday have church." And this 13-year-old made enough money. He made $10,000 and built a church. I mean, you just don't hear that. So he's got, that was my legacy. I wanted to have all my kids have big hearts, and they really do. They give back. So that's what life's all about. My favorite saying is, it doesn't matter how much money you make in life. If you can't give back along the way, it's not as worth it. So it doesn't have to be monetary. It could be just a pat on the back. We've got friends and kids that their parents passed away, and we want to be like a father to them. So it's just do that extra stuff, and my kids are learning that, and that's how we live life. It's great. Every one of them.
Love that. Well, what's coming up next for you guys? What are you most excited about right now?
Grandkids.
Grandkids. Okay.
Yeah, we have awesome grandkids. They're both around 3, and it's a do-over in life. It's the most fun thing I've ever imagined.
They're not lying when they say, hey, you get grandkids, you spoil them and give them back. It's the best. It's better than anything. I remember laying in my hospital bed, and I had plenty of time. I was on so much steroids for my medicine that I was probably up for 6 months straight. So I'd listen to worship music and just, pray to God and thank Him for what I have, have to look forward to. But I always ask my wife, I say, hey, I sure hope I can see my kids graduate high school. And now I got kids that, are married and I have grandkids. So it's just really a blessing to be able to look at that and really cherish every moment instead of take it all for granted. I don't sweat the small stuff anymore. I just enjoy life, and it's nice not to have any kind of side effects and stuff. I mean, I work out a lot, and I can start running now, and it's very, very blessed, because I've heard it the other way around. People that have bone marrow transplants, so they have to get new hips, new elbows, whatever. They can't.
Lungs.
We have a doctor that worked with us, and my VA doctor, his wife, same age, same diagnosis as mine, ALL, leukemia, and she was a marathon runner. Now she got off her medicine a little early, not to her fault, but she can't even walk across a parking lot without having oxygen. So just little things like that, you just really think, you feel sorry for them, but boy, you sure think, well, I don't have to go through it, and it's a blessing that I'm able to function and live life normal.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah.
So, Chris and Shelley, what's your message to the world?
Message to the world.
Mine is, like I just said, that I think people, well, first of all, I know there's millionaires, billionaires out there that would give every penny they have to have their health, and that had cancer. And I'm a firm believer that, like I said, you teach your kids and do this for your life, and you basically help people along the way. I think that's the biggest reward, because life's short. You really do need to make it work, make it happen, and if you can give back and make a difference, that's what life's all about. Life's going to be like a vapor. I always tell people, hey, none of us are outrun death. It's part of it. But you better make it count when you are alive, and try to make a difference by helping other people. Anybody can have millions of dollars. I've made a lot of money, and I've lost a lot of money, and I try to learn from it. But I found out that the real important things are the memories and what you can do for helping people along the way, because that's huge in my idea. I don't know what Shelley thinks, but that's.
I would say find Jesus, because we're all going to die someday, and we don't know if it's tomorrow or what. And so live with eternity in mind and gratitude. That's what I would say.
So good. So good. I'd like to finish the show with some fun questions here real quick. Of your family, who wins at Monopoly?
Oh gosh, we can't play games. We're too. We end up throwing pieces in.
We play charades, and
charades.
People would think it would be a big knockout party or something. We get so competitive.
Yeah, it's like The Sopranos. I mean, it's just it's fun, but it's loud. It's really loud.
Yeah. That is awesome. Chris and Shelley, you guys are both absolute world changers. Thank you so much for your time today and sharing your story, and just your messages to the world are truly amazing. I'm so honored to have had you on the show. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
So great to meet you. Thank you so much.
We appreciate your time. God bless you guys.
God bless you.
Thank you so much for checking out the show today. I really appreciate it. I hope that my guest was able to bring you some amazing wisdom and knowledge to help you continue to fight for your goals, your dreams, and your purpose. If you could do me one big favor and just hit that subscribe button, I would so appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. Keep changing the world. I believe in you. Have an amazing day.